Well, after a violent start to the summer, hundreds of Toronto police officers deployed to overnight shifts in an effort to curb gunfire on our streets. It was part of the gun violence reduction plan, which wrapped up earlier this month. And joining us live now with the results, Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders. Good morning to you, Chief.
Good morning.
It has been quite the summer, and that is, words can't really put into what we've seen out there. How has it all gone for you, for the officers? Well,
I agree with you. It has been an interesting summer. In fact, an interesting year when it comes to the gunplay that's happened in the city. With our 8-week plan that we put together, the men and women from Toronto Police did an excellent job. There were numerous arrests made. I mean, we arrested over 247 people strictly with gun types of offenses. We seized over 135 firearms, and through judicial orders, we seized another 19. So when you look at that time frame and the amount of resources and the amount of outcomes as a result of that short period of time specific to gun violence, I think we did a fantastic job. But we still have a long way to go. There's still a lot more things that need to be put in play if we're going to be successful.
Those numbers you would attribute directly to having those officers on hand during those hours, or is it complementary to what we already have out there?
Well, it's a combination of both, because not only were they doing the gun violence plan, but they're also doing enforcement. They're also doing proactive policing. They were also, if you remember in August, they had to submerge into an elevator to save 2 people. And there are a whole host of different things that each and every day were challenging the men and women over the summer, and they answered the bell really well.
Mm-hmm. What has it been like for the officers and the response from them being out there working the additional hours and shifts that typically wouldn't be seen? What have they been saying about that?
Well, the vast majority have signed up to help keep the city safe, to keep the citizens safe. And so I didn't get a whole lot of complaints from anybody. I would say that collectively the frontline men, as well as the specialized men and women, really put a strong effort in from start to finish. And it's continued. It's still ongoing. There's still some stories that we have to close the loop on in order to be successful. The homicide squad did a fantastic job this summer. They solved so many cases, and they had quite a bit when you look at the amount of murders that we've had this year, which is something we need to take a stronger look at next year. But by and large, they did a fantastic job this summer.
What is the biggest concern? So moving forward, this was, an 8-week period, an 8-week program, but the biggest concern or the biggest priority now moving forward, what is that for Toronto Police?
It's a continuation of the narrative, and I'm hoping that we don't all fall back into people get shot, police go arrest people. We have to look at those 3 buckets. We have to look at the front end, the middle end, the enforcement piece, and the back end. You know, I don't think that a 5-year-old boy in a playground one day says, I want to shoot somebody in the face. What happens is there's a journey that's taken, and that journey leads them to where they are now. We need to figure out how we can disrupt that type of thing. So we have to look upstream. And no mistake about it, there are people right now that need to be apprehended. They're past that point. They need to be apprehended. They're a danger to themselves, they're dangerous to the public, and they're dangerous to others. So it's not about being soft, but it's about being smart. Increasing the focus tables is fantastic. The enforcement piece is also fantastic, and we'll stay streamlined with that. And then at the back end as well, those people that are going to shoot or pull a trigger in the City of Toronto, I think there needs to be a strong deterrent factor for that as well, too.
Chief, is the budget there to make all of these things happen?
Well, the budget discussion is coming up very soon. I'm looking forward to make my pitch to see exactly where I think the funds should go when it comes to keeping the community safe. I can say that the City Hall, the mayor, has been very cooperative with us throughout, and working with the board, I think that we should be able to come up with something, having an understanding of the direction we need to go in order to keep this the safest urban city in North America.
We'd be looking to the province for additional funds?
I'll look to anyone who's got money, including you, if you have
anything. I have nothing, Chief. Okay. Nothing at all.
No, it's all levels of government have been incredibly cooperative, yeah. and they continue to be. And like I said, this is the first time in a long time where we're looking at it from a more holistic, from a broad bandwidth, and I'm excited about the opportunities. You're not going to see success overnight. It will take some time, but we're starting to slowly see the shift. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see the momentum. We've got the neighborhood officer pilot project starting in October. You'll start seeing results from there as well, and I'm taking every step to reduce the pressures for the frontline officers so that they only go to the calls where they're needed the most.
Okay, please do come back and on some better terms if we could.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in,
Good
Chief.
seeing you.
Chief Saunders.